And that needed to be recorded.
And your idea originally was to produce literally an hour for every year of the Cold War. And when we brought...
We did that with Millennium, with every 100 years.
That's right. But we brought, you said, please go find that man, that producer, Jeremy Isaacs, who produced The World at War. And Jeremy, you had happily retired from television. What was it about this project that brought you back?
I completely agreed with Ted that it was a thing that had to be done, and I knew it was the right people to help me. It took 50 of us 3 years to make it. We could do that. I was a bit taken aback when I went with you to meet Ted at an airfield outside Atlanta, 56 Fighter Squadron World War II officers and NCOs mess, public admitted. And he said he wanted 40 episodes. And I said, I can't possibly do 40 episodes. I haven't got the stamina to do it. The public won't have the stamina to watch it. And above all, if we'd had 40 episodes, if Ted would forgive me, there would have been no argument for keeping anything out of the series. You could have had an episode on Cold War and psychology, Cold War and the novel, Cold War and the film industry, and so on and so forth. And so we agreed on 20, and then later on, Ted bumped it up beyond that. And I've never heard of any other owner of media or head of a creative, responsible for the finances of a creative organization who took the trouble to interfere in order to invite the producer more money or more. The look on the faces of his colleagues at CNN when he stood up at the Piedmont Driving Club outside Atlanta and told them that were going to be additional episodes and that the money for them was going to come out of their budgets. The look on their faces was one of pure horror. He was a terrific person to work for. From the moment that we were able to show him anything, he was responding to every single episode. Now, I can tell you that the people who worked with Pat and me on this worked absolutely flat out. And to have a note from the owner of the whole operation that we could stick on the wall, that they could see, did an enormous amount for them. And he came to London to meet them and said hello. We had all the support we could ever have hoped for. And Ted, I shall always be grateful to you for the opportunity that you gave me to deliver that to you.
And I cannot thank you enough for doing a magnificent job. As a young man, right after I got out of school, I watched on public broadcasting, I think it was public broadcasting, The World at War. And I envisioned that the Cold War series would just be a continuation of that, because they interviewed the German pilots and the American pilots and the British pilots. It was completely honest and unbiased, and it gave the story truthfully. And we did that truthfully, and I don't think we ever got a single criticism that there was anything dishonest or fake or phony about this series of Cold War. Was there?
Well, there were some people who took a very strong exception to the politics of it, because they had an ideological view of the Cold War that they didn't feel was adequately represented in the series. But then it was a series which, as you say, was trying to put things together, leaving viewers in the position of making up their own mind if there's a conflict between two witnesses. It doesn't say 3 cheers for us and to hell with everybody else. It's not saying that.
That seems like a good time to bring President Gorbachev into the conversation. You're seeing just the excerpts of this. You were interviewed for this series. It must bring back many memories for you, President Gorbachev. what do you think, and based on what you saw, about this as a accurate and perspective on the Cold War?
Ну, это вопрос, который требует очень
Well, this is a question
правильного.
that would require a very detailed consideration and discussion.
Здесь, конечно, превалирует
I
той
think
точки зрения.
that to some
Есть
extent one viewpoint seems to prevail, but nevertheless,
фильм
this film, this series,
поучительный
is very informative.
и даже, кажется, такое, хочется сказать,
And I would say that my
без таких
impression is about
мы не расстанемся
documentary films.
со всем, что у нас
We will not be able to draw
привело к таким
a line
конфликтам, которые мы и раз на раз
the conflicts that brought us several times to the edge of destruction, not destruction of a city or even a country, but of human civilization.
А у нас с американцами мы обладали с ними
Our country
92%
and the United States held 92% of the world's stockpiles of nuclear weapons.
Когда я пришел к руководству,
When I
первое, о чем я
became the
думал,
leader of the country, the first thing that was on my mind
надо,
was the need
как главный пункт,
to assign top priority
думать о том, как нам нормализовать
to
отношения с ними.
normalizing relations with America.
Невероятно.
It was
85-й год,
really unbelievable. In
холодная война,
1985
пики были.
was at its height, at its peak. And both
Лучше нас никто не знал.
Americans and we had a very accurate idea
Что мы
about
создали.
what it could bring about, what kind of power we
И
held
Рейган
in our hands.
6 лет не мог встретиться с
President Reagan,
руководством Советского Союза.
for 6 years,
Это
did not have a single meeting where
опаснейший момент в
Soviet,
мировой
I think in itself was the case. And I think
Это
it's
ошибка.
unforgivable, and it was a mistake not to meet.
выстраивать планы.
When we started to rebuilding
Трудные
relations,
партнеры Соединенных Штатов.
we saw certainly that they a difficult negotiating partner, but certainly not hopeless.
Кстати, когда-то и президент Буш старший сказал, тяжело Горбачев вести
And I
переговоры,
remember also President Bush
договариваться.
Senior said that Gorbachev is a difficult negotiator with him,
Но
but
если мы договаривались, что Горбачев
once
всегда
we have
выполнял
reached an
свои
understanding,
обещания.
Gorbachev always kept his promises.
И мне также хотелось, чтобы так это было.
And I wanted on the American side.
Ну, я думаю, даже и сейчас это будет.
But I think we have not yet fully come to that even now.
Вот можно еще раз запускать это
That we
о холодной войне.
might have to restart that project of doing a film about the Cold War.
Опять угрозы.
Once again, we see a danger.
Милитаризация,
We see the threat of militarization.
охватившая все, включая сознание.
I think that the militarization of people's minds is the most dangerous thing.
Это самое опасное.
This is a danger.
И мне вот сейчас, когда я участвую в этом разговоре,
And taking part in this conversation,
Я думаю, так же себя чувствует Генри
And
Киссинджер.
I think probably Henry Kissinger feels the same.
Мы с ним
We
это, конечно, выдающийся личность.
and I regard him as an outstanding person,
К нему прислушивается,
a person
как
whose
к
voice
многим такого же порядка
is
людям.
heeded, people of a similar caliber.
Очень важно, чтобы эти
And
люди
so
не сбивались.
I think it's very important
Какие-то частные вспоминания всегда
for people
имели в виду,
like us
что они в жизни в
to
эпоху
keep focused.
принимали решения,
And that is our duty because we live and work when
дальнейшие шаги.
the outcome could have been quite different. It was always difficult to take important steps.
Когда мы, я хочу остановиться